Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening from wherever you are calling in from. This is Eric Berkowitz, the Director of Membership with the IEEE Computer Society. Welcome to our May webinar, Young Professionals, We Are the Future. To manage the expectations on this call, this webinar is going to explore the IEEE Young Professional Program, what membership can do for you after graduation, how it can help you as a student member. We're going to discuss early career professionals can benefit from the resources that are made available to you through IEEE, through the Computer Society, the value of professional networking, and all that good stuff. We're being led today by Ramesh Nair. Ramesh received his master's degree in computer engineering from the University of Cincinnati in Ohio in 2014. Since then, he has been working with Intel Corporation in California as a design automation engineer. His areas of technical interest include design automation, static timing analysis, and VLSI circuit design. He is a recipient of multiple Intel Organizational and Department Awards, the 2014 Design Automation Conference Young Research Fellowship, the 2013 University of Cincinnati Graduate Scholarship, and as well as the IEEE Computer Society Richard E. Merwin Student Scholarship. He has a great deal of experience volunteering with IEEE in the student young professional activities. He's been on various regional and global committees, and he's currently serving as the Global Vice Chair of IEEE Young Professionals Committee. In addition to that, he's also on the Ethics and Member Conduct Committee, the Region 6 Operations Committee, and he has served actually as the 2016 IEEE Computer Society Board Student Young Professional Rep. A few housekeeping things. This webinar is being recorded, so it'll be made available and emailed out to, notice will be emailed out to all participants that the session is available. We use chat for everything, so if you have a question, please chat it, and we'll get to your answers. We'll get to your question when we can. If we do not get to your question, we will make sure to email you offline with the answer. So with that, I think that's everything. I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Ramesh. Ramesh?
Yes, thanks, Eric. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. So my name is Ramesh, and so I think Eric already gave a good intro about me, so I'll just step in right into the webinar. So what we are going to discuss in this webinar is we'll talk about Young Professionals program, and we'll talk about why IEEE Young Professionals, or why Young Professionals in general is really important for IEEE. And then we will talk about Computer Society and how Computer Society benefits are aligned to what young professionals want, or how Computer Society benefits are aligned towards early career development. And then we will talk about Computer Society student membership, some of the activities that we have there, and then we'll open up for some questions. All right. So as Eric mentioned, please use the chat if you have any questions, and then I'm sure we'll get time to cover that. All right. So who are young professionals? So young professionals in general are people who have graduated with their first professional degree in the last 15 years. So people who have graduated from school in the last 15 years, you are considered to be a IEEE Young Professional member. And say you don't meet this criteria, you can always opt in for IEEE Young Professional membership. So say you have graduated like 20 years back, and then you still want to be involved with Young Professionals program, you are okay to do that, and you have an opt-in option when you basically sign up for your membership. And so young professionals, we have like around 171 affinity groups. So each section can form its own young professional affinity group. And we have around 171 affinity groups all over the world. And that's just a pin map of, where all we have the young professional affinity groups. So we have a bunch in Asia Pacific, US. We have almost everywhere across the world. And interesting fact is basically almost 1 out of every 4 IEEE members is a young professional. So that's one of the interesting facts. And why I say it is interesting is because this is the information that I want to share. Because if you say that 1 out of every 4 IEEE members is a young professional, we need to cater these needs, because these young professionals are going to be the next generation IEEE leader. So say a young professional right now is going to be a regional director or maybe the IEEE president in like 10 years, right? So that is why we need to understand, we need to make sure that young professional needs are catered, and we make sure that young professionals are there in IEEE. So this is just an information of what is happening in young professional membership, and this is basically not that great, because if you look at regions 1 to 6, so for people who are not familiar with regions 1 through 6 is basically the US regions, and 7 through 10 is 7 is Canada, 8 is Europe, 9 is Latin America, and 10 is Asia Pacific. So if you look at the US regions, there is a decline of membership of around 6% for young professionals. And if you look at regions 7 through 10, there is a decline of 2% and an overall decline of around 4%. So this is not that great. I mean, this is happening for the last couple of years, and we see that young professional membership is declining. And because of that, we need to make sure that we cater the needs for the young professionals. So, all right. So why does IEEE need it? So this is one of the slides which I like really the most, because if you look at, let me just take a pointer. So if you look at this area over here, this is basically the average age, or the most of the members are in this age. So this is like 50 to 60. That's the age on the x-axis and the number of members on the y-axis. So if you look at this area over here, we have the blue line, which is the members, and if you we can just look at the black line, which is all the members. So we see that the peak of members is basically at this age, which is like 50 to 60. And you probably would not be an IEEE Young Professional member unless you opt in, right? Because if you're graduated in the last 15 years, and if you're a young professional, you wouldn't probably be in 50 years old when you have finished your last degree. So this is like a little bit alarming. And if you look at that graph below, this is basically the average age of IEEE members over the last 10 years. So this starts from 2006 all the way to 2016. And basically this is increasing. So it was less around 44. The mean age of IEEE member is like 44, and now it's like almost hitting 48, right? So this is basically alarming. That means we are actually missing young people in IEEE, right? So we want people who are young, right out of college, to be in IEEE members, to drive this young professional program. But we are missing them. We are losing members after they graduate out of school. They are not basically renewing their membership, and that's why IEEE really needs us. Because as I mentioned before, 10 years from now, this graph is going. If it keeps going to the right, you will have probably age. You will have this black line peaked up over here somewhere, which is like 70, 80 years old, and we will probably missing a lot of members in this range. So we want to basically have a shift left of this graph. I mean, I work in the semiconductor industry, so basically shift left, we use a word called shift left all the time, because we want to launch a product, within, like, say our goal is like 14 weeks, we want to launch it in like 10 weeks. So that's called a shift left. So I use the same term here because we want to shift left this graph to basically decrease the average age, or basically not have this a linear graph growing for the IEEE age. So we need to attract new members, we need to attract young members and keep them active in IEEE. All right, so what is why computer society? Why we are so concerned about computer society, or why does computer society, or how does computer society play in a good fit for IEEE Young Professionals program? So computer society covers a lot of technology professionals in IT, in any computer related activities or any computer related domains that you work on. And it's a global network of our computer engineers and IT professionals. And we have around, as you might know, computer society can form chapters in each section, and we have around 221 chapters in 168 countries. So we have a global presence, and if we can actually use this global presence to promote young professionals, that would be great. And who we are. So what does IEEE Computer Society cover? And it pretty much covers everything on anything related to computers, right? And we have folks who are working in the industry, academia, government, self-employed, and we also cover a lot of extremely competent domains. So I just made it bold for some of the domains that has like really important in this time, like artificial intelligence. So we never talked about artificial intelligence like say 10 years back, and data analytics, cloud computing, big data. So all these are like very core knowledge areas that if someone is trying to hire a person, and if you have experience in AI or multi-core programming or big data, IoTs, so if you have experience in these domains, you are very valuable at this point of time, because we lack people who are basically having these skills, and we are trying to develop these skills for people, and that's where really Computer Society fits in, because it covers all these disciplines. We get to network with all the people, all the experts in these disciplines, and we also have something very interesting called Skillsoft, powered by Skillsoft. I'll talk about this later, but which is actually covering a lot of these topics and giving webinars, books, ebooks, webinars, training material, certifications on many of these topics. So that's where I feel Computer Society is really relevant to young professionals. So what does IEEE Computer Society do? So they provide information, we can use it for learning, and then by learning we basically have a career growth. That's basically it. And what all publications and access that we have around 600,000 articles that is online available, and that many, almost approximately 600,000 authors for all these articles, 13 magazines, 20 journals, 9,000 plus conference publications. So this is like a lot of content out there. And say for example, you take any of those topics from my previous slide, which is like AI, for example, artificial intelligence. We could basically find a bunch of articles related to artificial intelligence, which is really relevant. And so that even if you're a researcher, or even if you are just a person who are in industry not doing any research, and you want to increase your skills so that you can be competent in your job, that's it. I mean, these articles and all these resources you have out here is enough for that. And we have around 140 plus webinars, live technical webinars, conferences, 140 plus webinars again there. And another benefit which I want to talk about is the Skill Port Complete. So this is basically, I don't know how many of you have actually looked at this, but this, I have more details in the next slide. So Skill Choice Complete is basically a portal, and it's available to all IEEE Computer Society members if you are a student, or if you are on the research platform, or if you are basically a preferred plus member. So when you basically I'll talk about membership models, but when you choose your membership, I would strongly recommend that you take a membership model which is having this Skill Choice Complete, because as of April 2017, there was a huge revamp to this portal, and there has been almost 20x of many resources that has been put in, right? And it's basically on-demand training. So what is on-demand training? So if you log into Skill Choice Complete, you would see we have like 3 libraries out there. So we have IT, desktop, and business. So what IT covers all the IT skills and courses that you want. You have a bunch of ebooks. You have a lot of test preparation, all the test preparation exams or the soft exams that you have. And the desktop basically has a lot of digital skills that we want, a bunch of books. So I would strongly recommend you to log into Skill Choice Complete if you haven't done so before, so that you understand what a great benefit IEEE Computer Society is giving with your membership. And say you're not interested in any of these technical skills, and you want to basically you're interested in business management or program management, and you have covered like say 5 years of technical experience, and you have moved on to be a manager. And for those people also, we have benefits called the business model, where you have courses on business management, program management, Six Sigma mentoring, and all these things. So this is really a great platform for you to come look at, learn new skills. You have good recordings of many courses. You have ebooks that is available. You can just go through them, and learn as you go. So this has a lot of a lot of information out there. It's just that we need to go in and make sure we take the right information and we make use of our membership. And this is basically valued around $3,300 for an individual access, and it's actually included with your membership. So say even if you pay like for a Preferred Plus membership, you pay like $60 for an annual membership, you are getting a great deal out of it, right? Because this is valued around $3,300. And I would, so people who are on the webinar and people who would basically be listening to this recording later on, please make sure you log into Skill Choice Complete and see what all has been added as of last month. So this is a great benefit that we have. All right, so I wanted to touch upon some of the projects that the IEEE Young Professionals Committee is working on. So now we discussed about what Young Professionals is, we discussed about what Computer Society is, and we also talked about some of the benefits that is catered to young professionals from Computer Society, right? So let's talk about what are some of the other projects that IEEE Young Professionals Committee in general. So when I say IEEE Young Professionals Committee, it's like the global committee where we have coordinators from each regions. So regions 1 through 10, we have coordinators from them. We have folks from the society. So we have a representative from Computer Society, communication. So we have a bunch of society representatives. We have technical activities board representatives, MGA board. So it's a complex structure, but this is like if you look at it, it's like a global young professionals committee, which is basically trying to increase membership benefits for the young professionals. So some of the projects that this committee is basically working on. So I'm sure you would have heard about IEEE Explore. So one of the feedback that we usually get is when you're in school, you have IEEE Explore access through your university if it's a registered one, and you get free downloads and stuff. But once you graduate out of school, you need to pay for these articles, right? And so people generally ask, okay, I am a young member who is just out of college. I don't have enough money to basically afford an article. I don't want to pay $20 to read that article, and I'm already paying so and so much dollars for my membership. So what is the value I'm getting? So that is one question we always get. And what we're trying to do is basically have this. So the content for IEEE Explore. These are our projects that we are currently working on. It would take like a year or two to basically roll out. So some of the projects is, so one of the main projects is content access to IEEE Explore. So basically, if you're a young professional member, you would basically get a subsidized access to some of the contents in IEEE Explore. Say it might be that you would just be able to read that article, not really print it, but we're trying to give membership benefit in a way that you get subsidized access to IEEE Explore. That's the whole idea here. This is like in a very early stage of planning. It's not yet out there. So it's not yet live. That's what I'm trying to say. It's some of the projects that we are trying to do. Another project is basically a micro volunteering platform. So what we have generally seen is young professionals are really busy. So as in like, you go out of school, you are in an office, or you're working in industry, you need to catch up with work, you need to catch up with your personal life, you need to do a lot of other stuff, you need to have fun. So people don't have time for everything. So say you cannot ask a commitment of like 2 years from a young volunteer to work on so and so project. So there are people who are really busy, but they want to contribute to IEEE in some way or the other. And that's where the micro volunteering platform comes in. So the idea here is, say you want to contribute to IEEE, or you want to volunteer on some stuff, and then you find out that, okay, hey, I have a conference in my area, and how would I help in that conference? So through this platform, people would always be recruiting volunteers. Say when you apply for a position, it's like a job application, but although this is a volunteering platform. So you basically apply for something, and then they would say, okay, hey, this is a 10-hour job, or this is a 2-week job. So people sign up for it, and then you get volunteers, and you keep the ball rolling. So that's basically about micro volunteering platform. And volunteer loyalty and recognition program. So this is something because which we are keen to develop, because I don't know how many of you know this, because there is something called an IEEE Young Professionals Achievement Award, and that's like basically given to 3 or 4 people in a year across the world. And we feel that there are a lot of more volunteers who are not getting recognized. And the best way to keep people engaged in volunteering is basically recognizing what they have done. And it's the same with anything. If you're a manager and if you have people who are really working hard, and if you don't recognize them, people tend to say, hey, you know what, I'm done, and they just move on. So this is something which we need to really develop out, which is basically a loyalty or a recognition program to basically give benefit or tell the young professionals or the people who are volunteering, give them a pat on the back, give them some award, a gift or something, and keep them engaged. And the last two is basically about funding. So this is all. The last two projects are already rolled out this year, and I will talk about this over next slide. So this is basically our brand new funding portal from IEEE Young Professionals. This is the URL if you want to go in. And so we have classified the last two projects into 4 categories of funding. So we have something called a STEP. STEP is basically Student Transition, Elevation, and Partnership. And what this does is when you're in a senior year from graduation, you basically have a meeting with all the young professionals in your area, and the young professionals would come in and talk to the senior graduating people about the benefits of IEEE Young Professionals program and why they think that the students after graduation should be an IEEE member. So that's all about the STEP program. So we have a funding of around $500 for each affinity group to conduct STEP event, and this is already available. The application is already available in this portal. And the next one is basically a meetup program. So meetup is basically, say you have a conference that is being organized, and we actually do something called a Young Professionals meetup. So what I'll talk about this in detail in the next slide, the impact that it is bringing up. But the idea here is that young professionals would do a meetup at this conference and call in all the conference attendees and local young professional members, and it's basically a networking event. So that say there is a keynote speaker for the conference who is like really interested in your work. Maybe you could basically connect with them and get things going. So that's basically meetup program, and we have funding for conducting meetup program at conferences. And signature events is basically presence at like a high profile event. So there is IEEE honors ceremony that is happening on Thursday in San Francisco, and we have something called a signature event there for young professionals. So what we are doing is, IEEE honors ceremony, for example, is a global event where IEEE gives away awards for all the technical leaders and the best among the best. So there would be people who are coming in to receive those awards, and when you have such an event, this is like a high-profile event. So basically, we are trying to market IEEE Young Professionals and tell them that, okay, hey, you know what, we have something called IEEE Young Professionals, and this is what we do. So that's basically signature events. And seed funding is basically, say you have just started a young professional affinity group, or you are just on the beginning stages, so you have just started young professionals and you want to conduct events and you don't have funds to do events. So that's where seed funding kicks in, and you can apply for seed funding, and depending on your event, you get the funding approved. So, and the process is pretty simple. You select whatever event you want to do, fill out an application, you submit it, and then it will be reviewed. It would be approved or rejected based on what the event is. And then basically once it's approved, you basically organize the event, and then after the event, you make a report and send it back, and then the money would be basically transferred. So this is one of the biggest projects that we have rolled out this year in 2017, and this is basically catered for young professionals development. So most of the time we have heard that, okay, we want to do young professional events, but we don't have the funding to do such and so event, and that's where this really comes in. All right, so I talked about meetup programs, and how is it basically helping the global IEEE member network? So we say we have an IEEE conference which is sponsored by a society or event, whatever it is, and we have like around 1,000 attendees coming for that conference, okay? And through our Meetup portal, our Meetup funding portal, so we are funding an event, and it has funded for a panel discussion or a hackathon, and that happens at the conference. And we could also have a Meetup, outside the conference venue or an evening of the conference where we have people, local IEEE members come in for this event, and also we have all these conference attendees who have registered for this event. So there is no other way for the young member or the local member to interact with these conference attendees unless you register for the conference, right? And that's where this Meetup really bridges that gap. So basically the local member would come for the Meetup, even the conference attendee would come for the Meetup. It's free of cost, and then you get a platform to network. And that's the benefit that we're trying to give out, because you have the international conference attendees, you have the local members, and that's if you bridge those two, and that's where the global networking experience comes in. So you would not even think of interacting with this say so-and-so keynote speaker unless you attend this conference. So, but you really don't want to attend the conference. You basically go for the Meetup, and hopefully the keynote speaker shows up and you get a chance to network. So this is a global networking experience that we are trying to bring out. All right, so we have a few more minutes, and let's talk about Computer Society student membership. So we talked about young professionals. Let's talk quickly about what student membership is and how it is useful for everyone. So student membership. So we have offer going on right now. So it's a half-year membership now through 15th of August. So if you sign up for IEEE Computer Society membership, you have a special discount. So if you are in the US or Canada, it's basically $20, which is basically an IEEE plus Computer Society membership. And outside North America is basically $17.50. If you're already an IEEE member and you just want to add Computer Society to your bucket, hopefully it's $4. So and all the SkillSoft Complete, Skill Choice Complete, and all those extra benefits that I mentioned, it's actually coming up with your student membership. So that's like pretty cool. And apart from that, some of the scholarships that we have for students. So this is just for IEEE Computer Society members. It's not just open for all the IEEE members. It's just for Computer Society members. So one of the great one, or one of the best that we have rolling out now is Richard E. Merwin Student Ambassador, or Richard E. Merwin Student Scholarship. So we give out around 40 Richard E. Merwin scholarships, which is like $1,000 each. And this is basically for active student volunteers in their student branches. So if you should be an active IEEE Computer Society student volunteer, and you should also show your excellence in academic and professional efforts. So you should, I think you basically need to submit your grades and stuff. But people who are promising in academia and also contributing a lot to IEEE Computer Society student membership, running a branch chapter, and things like that, that's where this scholarship fits you. And we have like 2 deadlines for the scholarship, which is April 30 and September 30 every year. And we give out around 20 each for each cycle, I guess. And I would suggest, so if you are a Computer Society member, you have a student branch chapter, you have things rolling, and you're good with grades and stuff, you should probably think of applying for this scholarship. And this is like a very good benefit that Computer Society has for students. And another scholarship that we have is Upsilon Pi Epsilon Honor Society membership. So basically, this is a honor society membership both from ACM and Computer Society, and Computer Society gives out around $4,000 scholarships, and the deadline is October 31st. And we also have a paper contest, which is basically $500 each, and the deadline is October 31. So these are some of the scholarships that we have. And if you just go to IEEE Computer Society website and just search for scholarships, you would basically get info of all of this. So membership tiers. So as I mentioned before, you have a bunch of memberships, and if you look at the skill choice complete, it's basically along with your preferred membership. It's there in your training and development, and again, it's with your student membership. So this is your student membership, and young professionals would basically, you can take any of these membership models, but Preferred Plus would give you access to all this information right here. So it has a bunch of benefits which is catered for each membership. So say you are a researcher, you might want to look at this package, and say you want just a basic membership, you might want to look at this. But the best part is basically the skill choice and everything else. It comes in Preferred Plus. So we always try to promote this Preferred Plus membership because it comes with a complete package. And some of the other services and products. So we have IEEE Resume Lab. So IEEE Resume Lab is a platform which helps you develop your resume. So you already have a bunch of predefined resume. Say if you give like computer engineer, senior year, looking for jobs, something like that, it has a template already designed for you, and you just need to plug in your information. So this is a pretty good tool. I would recommend you to check this out, this IEEE Resume Lab. And so the IEEE Extreme Programming Competition, this is like a really great benefit from the IEEE students side. It's in October 14th, 2017 this year, and it's a 24-hour global programming contest. So I think you will have a couple of more months to basically register for this. I don't know if the registration opened up, but you will definitely have some time to register for this programming competition, and it's pretty cool. You basically team up with your members. You have a proctor, basically your student branch counselor or some member, grade member, and you basically team up and then try to solve issues or solve programming challenges. That's about IEEE Extreme. And all right, so basically we are trying to build a vision here for the global IEEE Young Professional Network and help them in early career development. That's what our aim is. That's what we are here for, and that's our motive. And we are trying, and let's use all the resources that we mentioned in this webinar, that is from IEEE Computer Society, and to empower the early career development. So that if we go back to my second slide where we have all those age graphs and everything, we basically get a shift left to have more young people in IEEE, and the average age of IEEE members is that we should start that graph to go down. So we should see the graph to go down so that we have more young members in IEEE. All right, that's all I had. Thank you so much, and this is my email address. If you want to send me an email, if you have questions about Young Professionals program, student activities, Young Professionals, I've been involved with this like for around 8 years now. So even if I don't know, I would be able to connect you with the right people. So so please send me a note if you have any questions, and thank you so much. So let's check.
Thank you, Ramesh. A very informative presentation on our young professional programs and how students and young professionals can benefit from involvement in not only IEEE but the Computer Society. As I said, these slides will be made available online if you have any questions. Again, I am Eric Berkowitz. I'm the Director of Membership. So I've seen a few questions come through about engaging with students, encouraging participation. I'd be very interested in talking to anybody about that. If you have questions on how we can encourage greater participation among these audiences, I would appreciate having that conversation. You can email membership@computer.org for the quickest response. That's an alias that goes to a number of us, but I will respond to it, and we can hopefully carry that conversation offline. We have these monthly. We have not set the date for the June webinar, but we will keep you informed of that topic and that date. I thank everybody for their participation today, and I look forward to seeing you and hearing from you on a future membership development call. Thanks, and have a great day.
All right. Thank you.